Hello, how are you? I'm Christine. This is Yarn About Yarn. It's my YouTube channel where I talk about knitting, weaving, crochet, or whatever other type of fibery things I get up to. So welcome. Recently I've been doing like weekly updates, mostly because of the Stephen West Go-Go Dynamo MCAL, but I thought once a month is probably enough now, so that I've actually got something to show you. But as I was sort of pulling things together this morning, today's the 27th of November, I thought, oh, maybe what I should do is film little snippets throughout the month when I've got something, and then just mush it all together and pop it up at the end of the month. So that way I don't forget anything. I don't sort of, you know, if I'm talking about half a dozen things, by the time I get to the last one, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. So trying to keep it fresh. You might have seen I put up a few shorts over the last week or so, especially the last couple of days, because I've been doing some dyeing. I had a Zoom workshop on warp dyeing, which was really interesting and has got me thinking about a few things that I could do with that. So I did have some cotton. I'm trying to think where I got it from. It says Full Circle Fibres, 100% raw Australian cotton, DK weight, and it was a kilo cone, and I have used it for warping before. I think I initially got it thinking I could knit with it and dye it, but it, you know, it's a DK weight cotton. It's not the softest, and I'm not really a fan of wearing cotton, which you will hear about in a minute. So I have been using it as just a plain warp, like for tapestry weaving and that. But I thought I will try this with the dyeing. So I made up a few skeins, and then I had some of the Bengala mud dye, and I dyed the skein. So I've got about three of these of varying sizes. They're now dry, and then they were rinsed, and then they've dried again. So now I'm actually balling them up, and then I'll be using them as the warp. If there's enough, I will also use them as the weft. Otherwise, I think I'll go for a thinner, just natural coloured cotton. But yeah, if you look back on my shorts, you'll see a little bit of that. But that's what the Bengala dyed skein. So I used 3 different colours. And I've got some more. I've got some different colours coming to me because that was the last of what I had of the Bengala. So yeah, wearing cotton, not my favourite. Takes me to my finished object for this month, which is the Tolster Tee by Ravelry. You can see I've done mine with some stripes, and I also did a feather and fan, a few repeats of that on the hem. And now I can see, and I thought I saw it in the mirror this morning, there's definite colour variations between the balls of yarn, and they were all the same dye lot. But yeah, no, whatever. So this is the Tolster Tee. I made it using a Spotlight yarn, which is our local big box store, and it was their 4 Seasons Brighton. And I had just their natural cream. It's just their cotton blend 8-ply, which is 50% cotton, 50% acrylic. And this one's not too bad, and it's quite soft. And then I had the cotton blend melange, I think it's pronounced 8-ply, in is it ruby melange colorway. And this is a bit coarser. I think it also looks slightly thicker, but it's sort of that mild. It's like that old, when you've got an old sweatshirt and it sort of gets a bit, not pilly, but sort of a bit fluffy and a bit faded in places. And that's sort of what, I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but that's sort of what this is like. So it has that worn out feeling before you even start washing and wearing it. But I didn't have enough of these to continue with the striping, and I realized that when I got to here, and I sort of thought, oh, I'm not going to have enough to keep going. I was going to go a little bit further because I did have this ball, but I thought I don't want to end at an awkward spot. And I thought maybe where I ended was a bit awkward anyway, but it's not too bad. I think if I made it again, I wouldn't use a cotton. And I don't know what my gauge is with this, whether it's the size I chose or the actual yarn that I chose, but I would go up a size next time. So, because there's like pretty much 0 ease in this one, which I don't like. But yeah, but as much as cotton is a plant fibre and people say it's great for summer, I find it quite warm. It's meant to be 29 degrees today, which I think is about mid-80s Fahrenheit. And it's just really humid, so I won't be leaving this on for long. So I was going to say that's my only FO, but it's not my only FO. It's my only FO for me this month. I'm working on a couple of others. I was hoping to get at least one more summer top finished, but I ended up getting some knitting commissions coming in. And I've said before I do some design and sample knitting for a company, and they had 2 design briefs that they put to me, which I accepted, but when it arrived, they'd actually put in a couple more. So I've got 4 that I have to design, pattern write, grade, and knit samples for. So my own personal knitting is now pretty much on the back burner. So yeah, so I put up a post that I can't accept any other knitting commissions probably till about February, depending how quickly I get through these. One of them I'm hoping to get finished in the next week, and 2 of them should be fairly quick. So I might have some time before February to take on some more work or to do some of my own personal knitting. I did have the camera facing the other way earlier, and you could see my whips behind me, which is basically like these same cubbies, but 3 and not as high. It's just full of project bags, so I really want to get through those. So other FOs for this month, I did a knit for, we've got a couple of babies coming, and not sure on their gender as yet. So I tend to do gender neutral type things when there's a new baby coming, but I thought it'd be more fun to do like actual boy things and girl things and just see what happens. So the first one I did was out of this Maker pattern book, which is produced by Spotlight, our big box store. And they tend to do, I don't know how often they come out, they tend to do one that's mostly for adults, and then every now and again they'll bring out the baby and toddler one. So what I made was what they call the fantail striped cardigan, which is this one here. And that was in their Bella Baby fantail, which is a 4-ply, a fingering weight. And I've basically done the same colours as this. So that's it here. Very soft. I think it was a 50% wool, 50% acrylic, so it's machine washable. And yeah, nice and light. So hopefully that'll be suitable for one of the new bubs. I think I did the 12-month size, so just a little bit bigger. The other things I've been doing, I don't know whether I mentioned it last time, but I'd been asked to teach a crochet class. Now my crochet is very basic. It was teaching children, it was group of young girls, and they range from about, I think about 7 or 8 up to early teens. So range of ages, and I wasn't sure who had done any crochet before. So I said to them, look, I can teach them how to do a granny square, and then we can go from there. So I was only given, at first I was only given an hour, and the the people organising said, oh, will that be enough? And I said, oh, no. I said, you might get some that have done it before, some that pick it up really quickly, and yeah, they'll be fine. I said, there'll be others that struggle to make a slip knot in an hour. So they ended up saying, okay, you can have an hour one week and an hour the following week. So I've done both of those classes now. After the first week, I was even hesitant to go back. It was just, the reason I didn't want to go back is because I didn't think the girls enjoyed it, and I didn't want them to have to like put up with it again. There were a few of them that just found it really frustrating. It sort of ranged from the ones that loved it and could do a little bit, the ones that loved it and were persevering, and then there were the ones that were just like, this is too hard, I'm not doing this. And I felt really sorry for them. I thought, oh, you poor kids, like, do you really want to go through this for another week? But yeah, but I did the second week, and the second week was great. So I had kids turn up the second week who had done massive granny squares. I had one that turned up with a free form sort of shape, and I had some that had chains, you know, meters long. Some that were still struggling and didn't know what they were doing wrong, but were keen. Most of them were keen to, well, they all were. They were keen to do it again. So that was really good. And when I went this time, I took some things to show them what they could do with their granny squares. And I think that sort of motivated them a bit. The one with the freeform shape was all excited about turning hers into a hat or some sort of top, and someone else was doing a scarf. And so yeah, it was really good. So I hope that they stick with it. I don't know whether I showed you this before. That was just like a little purse bag sort of thing that was just from one granny square that was folded. And I have a feeling I've shown you the hat too that I took, which was the 5 granny squares with a bit of crochet around the edge. They really loved this. The other one I did was, I thought I'd kill 2 birds with one stone, make something for one of the new bubs, and also a granny square sample. So this was a really great book. It's from Peyton's, and it's Cute Crochet 4 Super Easy Granny Square Designs. So basically it is the little blanket, the cardigan, the hat, and some bunting. Yeah, I think that must be it. So I've actually done this little cardigan jacket thing. And I love the one on the front cover that was the multicolours, but I wasn't going to change colours. I had some Bendigo Woolen Mills multicolour sock yarn, and I forget the colourway, and I thought I would use that and just crochet the squares out of that, so I wouldn't have to change colour. And it actually came out, I was thinking it would be quite pastel, very little contrast between the colours, which was sort of how it was looking as I was making the squares. But it turned out to be a lot, not brighter, but more colourful than what I was expecting. So there's something like 50 odd squares in this. But anyone that crochets and can do granny squares can work out what's been done here. These were all done separately and then sewn together, but I'm sure all you expert crocheters out there can do the crochet like join as you go technique. But it's actually quite soft, and yeah, it's lovely. In the picture they have a bow to join it, which initially I did put on. I had oh, here it is right here, these ribbons that I picked up years and years ago from a craft show, and I think they were actually meant to be like a vintage, I fell in love with the label, a vintage ribbon that were from France or something. So initially I did put this on, but it just didn't look right, and I don't know, I just didn't seem to go with it. I did think of adding a little button loop with a button or something, but I thought, oh, I'll just leave it. It's more like a little jacket that can go over something else, so it doesn't really need a closure, I don't think. Pretty sure I made the smallest size in this because of the number of granny squares. 50 something was enough for me. So I was trying to see what the sizes were. Motif jacket is 0 to 3 months, 6 to 9 months, 12 to 18 months. And maybe I made the middle size. Maybe I made the middle size. So yeah, I was quite happy with that, and you know, all the girls loved it, and I just said to them, if you want to make something like this for yourself, just make bigger granny squares. Excuse me. The other one that I showed them, because I wasn't sure young girls that age, I haven't had a lot of experience with girls that age for a long time, so I sort of didn't know whether they wouldn't be that interested in seeing a baby jacket, if they thought the hat was too daggy. So I was trying to think of a few different things, and I found this pattern for a bag, which is basically 4 granny squares. So one on each side in the middle, and then one for the corners, and just joined, and then a strap, which probably could have been longer. I think it's meant to be a crossbody bag, but my tension with crochet is not great. And then I just popped a zip in. There's no lining. I haven't got that. I didn't know whether I would bother putting the lining in, and I was rushing to get it finished before the class. But I think I might put a lining in, and maybe it could be a gift to somebody. But yeah. So that was the crochet that I did for that class. So that went really well. Finished my tulsity, done the dyeing. I think last time I spoke to you, all my whips, I have gone through them, and there were a couple that I wasn't too sure about, and I've gone back and I had a look, and there is one that I'm definitely going to frog. So I've pulled that out, and I'll frog it over either today or tomorrow. And it's just called the Nanny sweater, Nanni. And the pattern, there's no actual pattern you can buy. There's no, I don't even know how I found it, but the pattern is done on Instagram. I have set up a Ravelry page, which if you're interested, usually when I frog things, I delete my Ravelry project pages. So if you're interested in seeing the pattern and where I found it, or if you go to Instagram and just search Nanny, Nanni sweater, the hashtag, before Instagram gets rid of hashtags, it should come up. But I will be deleting my Ravelry project page soon. So the woman is, I think she's German, and English is her second language. She put the pattern up in her stories, so it was a matter of like checking the stories every day to try and get the pattern, and I was just making notes every day and trying to work out what was going on. I started it because I really loved the look of it. And she uses what, I don't know whether that's the official name or whether she just calls it this, but she uses a caliper stitch, which is this stitch here on the shoulder. Like the shoulder detail is just beautiful. And the same with this braid around the neckline. It's a double thick neckline. It's got this beautiful braid going all the way around. It's got this detail on the shoulder. This is the shoulder here. It's got this caliper stitch. That stitch then splits and goes down where your raglan shaping would be. There's no actual numbers in the pattern. It's to do with your gauge and your measuring and that sort of thing. Caliper stitch comes right down, and I've actually pulled back to here because I remember making a mistake. It was about where to join, and then the caliper stitch comes together, but then it splits out again and it goes down the side seams. It was just a beautiful looking jumper sweater with techniques that I hadn't done before. But as much as I love the way it looks, I realized I wasn't enjoying the knitting. It was like quite a struggle. I think trying to decipher some of the things that she was trying to get across, because I don't know whether it was just a different technique, her different knitting style, or whether because English isn't her first language, but I found some parts really difficult. And as an fairly experienced knitter and a designer, I've designed jumpers, a lot of that knowledge came in handy, but I was still struggling. And also, I don't think I'll get much wear out of this. Like, it's a very high neck, which I don't like, I don't wear, and it's thick. Like, the yarn I'm using is a DK weight, and it's being held double. Now, the thing with this yarn, it is beautiful and it is soft, and I love it, and I love the colour. This is the second project I have tried with this yarn it's my own fault. I'm just choosing the wrong thing. So this yarn I've had in my stash since, I don't know, 2017 maybe. I think it was my first trip to the Sheep and Wool show in Bendigo. And it's the oyster yarn from the Pearl Box. And it's in their Maven DK, which is a superwash merino. It's 60% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 20% yak. So it is absolutely beautiful. And it's in their Dionysia colorway. So I really need, you can just see the drape. Beautiful. And you can imagine, I don't know how well you can see it, but you can just imagine the depth of color, and that from having the yak in there as well. So I need to find something for this yarn. This is going to get frogged. One thing about this yarn, it is holding up really well to frogging. So yeah, that's going in the frog pond. And I need to find something to make with that yarn. I'm thinking a cardigan, because I don't get a lot of wear out of jumpers to start with, especially DK weight. So cardigans are great for the climate here, easier to put on and off. So yeah, that is going to get frogged. What else? I have made a few notes because I thought, oh, a month, I am just not going to remember it. One thing that did arrive is my advent calendar. I was not going to get an advent calendar this year, but I saw that Obsession Yarns had a calendar coming out. I saw her calendar last year and I regretted not getting it. I really love Marie's aesthetic and her colours that she uses. And I regretted not getting last year. So when this one came out and she did have like a lay-by system payment plan, I decided to get it. So instead of doing like a Vlogmas thing, you know, coming on and opening up my advent calendar, which some people just don't like, they don't want to see that sort of stuff, I'm going to do it as shorts, either daily or every second day or something. Just very quick, just opening up that day's yarn. I don't know whether I'll start a project yet. I'm sort of a bit hesitant to start with an advent calendar unless it's something, you know, like a blanket or a wrap, which I don't want. I think I want a garment. I know Amber O'Brien has a couple of cardigan patterns for advents. There's her Radvent cardigan and there's another one that I can't think. She's got one that's got the distinct V down the back, which I've seen in some colorways that I really like and others that I don't. So depending on this advent calendar, whether that's something I'll go with. And there's the other one that's knit sideways, but that's got more of a batwing sleeve. So I don't know. I'm sort of waiting to see if any others come out, if she brings out another one, another garment for Advents this year. I think she's bringing out a blanket or a wrap or something though. So if you've got any ideas, fingering weight, yeah. So that will be in my stories starting on I might hold back until about the 2nd of December, just so there's no spoilers for people, but if I do it later in the day, it should be okay. So yeah, so that'll be coming up in the stories. Hopefully I'll be able to get some knitting done for myself. I've been sneaking in a little bit every now and again. What I'm working on for the commission at the moment is quite a bulkier type of yarn, so that I'm switching back to something a bit lighter, just to give my hands a rest, because I found when I was sort of doing hours of knitting on that, I'd wake up and my hands would really be aching, because it's a lot bigger needle than what I normally work with, which is great, because it means that the sample will knit up quickly, but I've just got to watch my hands with that. The other thing this month is I got the new, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. In my head I call her Larkbagger, but I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Her first book was the one with the yellow cover that was called Close Knit, and this one is Knitted Out. And I can't remember whether I actually read the last book, but I have been reading this book, and it's, as well as the knitting patterns and all the beautiful photos, it's got such a lovely story, lovely but sad. It's about Lark's relationship with her father and how that develops through her life, through his life, and her having children. So she's sort of interwoven that in with the patterns and all the photographs. So I've really enjoyed reading her story. And normally, like with her last book, there wasn't anything that I was immediately drawn to. Like, she has a completely different style to me. It's sort of a bit like Stephen West. I love what she does. I love what he does. I love how their colours. Lark even more so, because what I used to do a few years, quite a while ago, was more a freeform style, and just combining, you know, that fluffy fake fur yarn in with something else, what I'm doing in my weaving now, but not so much in my knitting. And that's what she's doing, and I think I'm really drawn to that, and in a way want to get back to that. So there is one in here that I think I will be knitting eventually. I think she calls it her fancy cardigan, but it's like a Fair Isle style. But if you're not familiar with Larkbagger, which I don't know who wouldn't be, she's got such a large following on Instagram. And I think part of it is because it's almost like she doesn't care what people think. Like, she'll knit what she wants, she wears what she wants. She puts up photos of her, you know, her not looking her best all the time. You know, the kid's got a runny nose and a dirty nappy or whatever. It's like, this is life, and she's not afraid to show it. So I'll stand up so I can turn the pages. I'll only show you a couple of... So you do get a lot of photos in her books, which I appreciate as well. This is the one that, so it's like a houndstooth. I would not be making it as cropped as that, I don't think. She's also done it as a coat. And she also, which is fun, shows a lot of her stuff on Barbie and Ken dolls, if I can find one. Yeah. Which I thought that was a really fun idea. But I'm pretty sure she calls that one the fancy cardigan. She also does an entrelac coat. just really great. Fancy cardigan. And she does it as a tube top, which I won't be doing. Yeah. So the idea is to pick just a plain yarn. So the other one was like a black. This one's in the cream. And I think, yeah, she's just held yarns together, different yarns together for that. Sort of like her, I don't know if you remember during COVID, she did the All Together sweater, which became really popular. And she was just swapping out yarns all the time. And it's a similar thing with this. So it's a great way to use up those funky fake fur yarns, or that pop of neon, or something else that you've got in your stash that you know, don't know what to do with. Thinking that could be an idea for the advent calendar, but it wouldn't use up the whole advent, and I'd like to use it all in one project and not split it up too much. These are also fun, these type of things. So yeah, but get it out, love it. So I'll put a link to this down below if anyone's interested in having a look at it. It's quite a weighty book, hardcover. And it's, yeah, same size as her last one if you've got her last book, close knit. So when I get to that, will be a while, because like I said, I want to try and get through my whips. I'm sort of thinking, like, if I can get a couple of whips done. So I counted the baby things as FOs, which they are FOs, but they didn't come out of my whip pile. But I had these 3, so I was sort of like, maybe I could cast something else on. But that's my thinking. If I can get 2 out of the whip pile, I can cast something else on, because it will be reducing, and that's what I want to do. I think I'm sitting at about 20, 21 personal whips at the moment. Which that's okay. I don't want to go too much over that. Last year I took part in the, now what did you call it, 12 cast on Cal, which was every day for 12 days cast on a new project. And this lady, and I cannot think of her name, it's Yarn and Yarns on Instagram and YouTube, and she's absolutely lovely to watch. She casts on 12 new projects every year, and quite often they're not finished when she casts on 12 for the next year. So she's got a huge backlog of whips, but she doesn't mind. Like, yeah, go and check out her YouTube videos. She does a little thing every month where she draws cards, and that's how she chooses what to work on for the month. At the moment, what I'm doing is sort of being semi-monogamous. I've pulled 2 whips out of the cupboard, and they're the ones that I want to get finished. I've sort of prioritized more summer knits for now because of the weather. I figure if I get something summery finished, I can wear it now. And they also might be quicker to knit. So I'm sort of working on 1 or 2 of my own projects when I've got the time to try and get those finished. And there's also that incentive that if I'm going to be doing this every month, it would be great to have something to show you that I finished. Yeah, so hopefully that's the plan. I can get something else done in December. I'll have my Advents openings as shorts, and if you've got any ideas what some sort of cardigan I'm thinking that I can use the majority of my Advents in. Pretty sure there's 24 minis. I think they're 20 grams, and so what's that, about 80 meters each one. It's a lot of yarn in an advent calendar. And then this one also has the full skein for Christmas Day. It has 3 or 4 little gifts that it said on the information sheet. It actually said open them basically straight away so that you can start enjoying them. But yeah, I don't know whether to open those, and in case people leave them and open them throughout. I'm not sure. See, I'll have to think about that. Most of my viewers on YouTube are from the US apparently, and US and India. So I'm not sure whether Marie sent any international advent calendars. So it's unlikely that my viewers would have actually have got the advent calendar from Obsession Yarns in Australia, but let me know in the comment box below if you did order that from Marie, and what you're going to make with it, or what you're going to make with an advent calendar that you're receiving this year. Let me know. I might be I've been tempted by Helen Stewart's, I can't think what it's called, blanket, the round one that she did a few years ago, but I'm just not going to use it. Like, as lovely as they look in their pictures, I won't be using it. I do have some large wrap and or blanket projects in my WIP pile, so I really don't want to add any more. But anyway, I think that's it. I'll wrap it up for now. Just looking outside, it seems to be clouding over, so we might get some rain, which we've had too much rain. But yeah. Okay, so I hope everybody is well. We do celebrate Christmas and we will be spending time with family, so I'm not sure when I'll get back, whether I'll get back earlier in December or whether it will be sort of later. But what I might do is, yeah, I'll film, I think I will film things throughout the month and then just put them together. So even if I'm only available to do a 5-minute hello intro type of thing, I will have the rest of the footage to be able to show you. So hope you're all well. Hope you're all finding time to do some crafting. And I'm going to hope to get, the commission knit I'm working on at the moment actually needs blocking before I can go any further. So I'm going to get that done, which is why I was looking at the weather. And that while I'm waiting for it to dry, I've got half the pattern written up. I'll finish writing the rest of the pattern up. I'm hoping to get this wound into balls and then get it warped onto the loom. So this is something I've been putting in my shorts as well. So keep an eye on that. And yeah, I'll talk to you next month. Bye.